Imagine you go to see a movie with your friends. After the movie is done and you all walk out of the theater, they ask you, what was your favorite part? This is what we will be talking about today. The scenes in movies that completely steal the show. The clips of movies you would see on YouTube hitting millions of views, and how you can create them for your story. In our previous video on how to write an original concept, you learned that concept is philosophical conflict externalized. We discussed the big picture about original ideas. Now, it's time to talk about how you can implement your concept to tell your story from page to page naturally. This is where set pieces come in. You may have heard the term set pieces before, referring to action sequences with explosions, chases, or shootouts. Although these can serve as set pieces, I would like to instead propose a more practical definition of the term. A set piece is a self-contained sequence that uses the concept to externalize the philosophical conflict in a highly iconic and unique way. Set pieces are the scenes that make the movie highly memorable while simultaneously developing its philosophical conflict. Just like the concept, we can build set pieces following the same three-step model, but this time on a micro level. Step 1, be clear about the two beliefs and two externalizations in conflict you have in your concept. Step 2, create two lists for elements associated with the two externalizations. Step 3, combine one element from the first list with an element from the second list to create a highly iconic scene. If the concept is the macro of a story, set pieces are the micro. They are the concept applied at a scene level. Instead of fight scenes and shootouts, any movie can and should have set pieces tailored to their concept and philosophical conflict. As a case study, let's look at The Truman Show. This is a movie that has a simple and brilliant concept. When an insurance salesman discovers that his whole life may actually be a reality TV show, he must find breaches in the fake reality that contains him in order to ultimately escape it. The Truman Show is a great case study because every scene is drenched in concept. It does not miss a second to explore its premise while expanding its philosophical conflict. Let's use the three-step model to come up with some set pieces in The Truman Show. Step 1, be clear about the two beliefs and externalizations in conflict you have in your concept. Again, set pieces are the micro extension of the concept, so we continue to work with the two beliefs and externalizations we introduced in the story's concept. The Truman Show deals with the philosophical conflict of challenging reality versus accepting reality. It externalizes the two beliefs in the following way. Accepting reality is externalized through a reality TV show. Challenging reality is externalized through a prison break. The movie combines both elements to essentially create a prison break movie where the prison is one's manufactured and televised life. It's a modern allegory for Plato's cave. Step 2, create two lists for elements associated with the two externalizations. Now, we make two lists. One list for all the elements we would associate with reality television. Another list with elements associated with Prison Break. Let's write as many elements as we can on each list. Try to cover the obvious elements and the not so obvious ones. Everything goes. For instance, our list could look something like this. For reality television, we can have hidden cameras, hired extras, fake sets, 24-hour broadcasting, producer interference, merchandising, contract termination, audience interaction, or crew mishaps. For the prison break list, we can have searching for possible breaches, psychological torture, water barriers, manipulation, raising someone in captivity, making a run for it, meeting someone on the outside, a manhunt with flashlights. This is where research can come in handy. It is useful to research more about each external element to gather as many elements as possible with the most amount of details. These elements will be the ingredients for our set pieces. Step 3. Combine one element from the first list with an element from the second list to create a highly iconic scene. This is where the magic happens. We connect elements from one list with elements from the other. Try to find elements that can have something in common or that are contrasting. Keep in mind that this might take some trial and error. Not every element will fit with another. Now, let's look at some examples that we might create with this combination of elements. Searching for possible breaches plus crew mishaps. When Truman begins to suspect the world around him, he tries to look for possible breaches. He detours from his usual path to work and spontaneously bursts inside a building he has never been before. He catches sight of what should be a regular office elevator, but in actuality is an unfinished part of the set that the crew forgot to hide.
Can I help? Oh, yeah, I have an appointment at Gable Enterprises.
They were bust.
What's happened? Nothing.
This serves as one of the seeds for Truman's paranoia. Manipulation plus producer interference. When Truman is sure that his life is a lie, the show's producer, Christoph, steps in to keep him from trying to escape. To manipulate Truman into staying in his cell, he changes the show's narrative to bring back the actor who played Truman's previously deceased father. Christoph constructs a narrative where Truman's dad survived his apparent drowning and contracted amnesia, and that now he's here to stay. Truman breaks down, all while Christoph carefully orchestrates the moment behind the scenes.
Fade up music. And now going close.
Manhunt plus fake sets. When the cameras lose track of Truman, the whole crew descends into a wild manhunt for him. As the entire set can be controlled by the showrunners, they use the set's fake moon as a prison light cannon to search for their prisoner on the run.
He has the world's most recognizable face. He can't disappear.
When that doesn't result, Christoph resorts to artificially changing the set's lighting from night to day lighting, completely changing the position of the sun. See how these moments are highly original scenes that could never be replicated in another movie? This is because the filmmakers fully utilize the movie's concept and philosophical conflict in every scene. But we don't have to stop here. For more heavy set pieces, we can use Dan Harmon's story circle to make a full mini story out of them. The two elements combined in the set piece can serve as a skeleton for a complete story sequence. Let's look at a full scene from The Truman Show. Making a run for it plus extras. In this scene, Truman makes his first big escape attempt, but is held back by all the extras around him. Let's use the Dan Harmon story circle. 1. A character in a zone of comfort. When Merrill approaches Truman, he is in his car, observing the extras that pass by. He realizes that they all walk around the block in a perfectly rehearsed pattern.
Lady? Flowers! There it is! There it is! There's the dented beetle! Yes! Woo!
2. The character wants something.
You're upset because you want to go to Fiji, is that it?
Truman wants to break out of his life. 3. They enter an unfamiliar situation. Truman locks Merrill inside the car. and starts it. He is going to escape his reality.
Let's go now. I'm ready to go now. Why wait? Early bird gathers no moss. Rolling stone catches the worm, right?
4. They adapt to the unfamiliar situation. Truman speeds down the streets and spins circles around a roundabout, trying to surprise the extras where he's going next.
Truman, where are we
I don't
going?
really know. I guess I'm being spontaneous.
Truman chooses a street. He's then blocked by a row of driving extras that halt him in a synchronized fashion. The extras don't seem to budge. Truman changes gears to back away from the street, seemingly making a U-turn, only to try the same street again. As he does, the street has completely reset, with all the cars gone. He speeds down the lane, reaching a bridge. This is a huge challenge to Truman, due to his childhood fear of the sea. Truman outsmarts the cast by forcing his wife to be the one who drives him over the bridge.
Give me your hand.
Sweetie.
Drive.
Truman!
5. They get what they want. Truman and Meryl cross the bridge, leaving his little town. Truman might just make it. 6. But they pay a price for it. Just as it seems that Truman might have a shot at escaping, the extras create a bigger diversion. They set up a leak in a nuclear energy plant nearby, forcing Truman to stop his car and turn back. When one of the extras accidentally reveals that this might also be planned, Truman makes a run for it. He exits the car and makes a run on foot, as all the extras chase after him. There are too many, cornering him. 7. They return to a new familiar situation. Truman is tackled by the extras and dragged back home. Today, you learned about set pieces. While the concept is the macro of the story, set pieces are the micro. A set piece is a self-contained sequence that uses the concept to externalize the philosophical conflict in a highly iconic and unique way. You can create set pieces in a very similar way you create your concept, by following a 3-step process. Step 1, be clear about the 2 beliefs and 2 externalizations in conflict you have in your concept. Step 2, create 2 lists for elements associated with the 2 externalizations. Step 3, combine one element from the first list with an element from the second list to create a highly iconic scene. When crafting set pieces, remember, have fun. Set pieces are where you should allow your imagination to try out crazy ideas. Have fun coming up with scenes that only your concept allows you to. After all, this is the reason why people paid money to watch your movie. And if you're interested in fixing your screenplay with a top development team, click the link below this video to work with us.